Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to Europe versus America 10 differences. I do enjoy doing these reactions, and even though Europe is quite hard to generalize, right? Because Europe, England and Spain and Greece and Italy, like, they're different. You're not going to be able to say there's many similarities between England and Greece, are you? But these videos are still fun to do, and also I guess with the US you could say the states differ as well. Wouldn't say as extremely, but they definitely do differ in their own ways as well. So in that case, it's probably somewhat of a fair comparison. But where did comparison come from? Jeez, man. But yeah, I know Europe's hard to sort of say it's just the same, but still, I enjoy doing these reactions, so deal with it. We're going to get into this reaction. Hopefully, you're going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon, where you can see reactions that I can't post to YouTube, movies, TV series, all that stuff. But let's see these differences and I guess see how they compare with each other.
It's a debate as old as time, or well, not really as old as time, because the United States is only about 250 years old and Europe is way older, but still, you know what I'm saying. One's a continent and...
Wait, what channel is this? Global Things. Wait, he's showing his face now. Go on, lad.
One's a country. They're two very different and yet still pretty similar places overall. Today I've come to Europe to show you 10 of my favorite differences between the two. Well, actually, I mean, I was just here anyway, but I decided to make this video cause why not? So without further ado, let's get started. Difference number one, size. Europe was built a long time ago, and its big cities are narrow and small, and the streets were made for pedestrians and horses. Unlike our gas-guzzling stroads in the United States, you can actually walk around and it's nice and compact. That's why Europeans can't fathom the fact that we can drive 8 hours and still be in Texas.
Flying home from Italy, I literally got a view of the entire country of Monaco outside my window. Like, what the heck?
In America, we tend to have a lot more liberty.
To be fair, though, I think Monaco is definitely an anomaly. Like, that place is just, it's just a country built to, you know, secure money, keep money within, you know how it is? Yeah, that country is just a puppet for the rich, man. I mean, I don't actually know how Monaco was formed, but I assume it was just for that sort of reason, just to keep people with more money that they can control.
Living space, and our houses are definitely bigger and on more land typically, which comes with its ups and downs, because you certainly get a lot of neighborhoods that look like this and this and this. In Europe, gas is also a lot more expensive than it is in the States, and so people have incentives to drive less. And when they do drive, they typically drive these goofy, tiny little Mickey Mouse looking cars. You definitely won't see any gas guzzling, lifted, six-wheel pickup trucks with Trump flags anywhere here in Europe. They're just not on our level. I don't know what to tell you. But it is not just the cities and cars that are smaller in Europe, because it's literally everything. For one, the people here are brutally suppressed by smaller food and drink portions, which is totally unfathomable to me. I mean, how could you? That's not a meal. That's a snack. That's
Bro, those plates piss me off, by the way. How are you? Oh my god. It's probably for presentation, right? How are you giving me a plate?
To me. I mean, how could you? That's not.
I say a plate slash bowl, because it's a plate here, then it's just a bowl. Come on, man. You're just teasing me at this point. All of this just to give me this here. Come on.
Meal? That's a snack. That's what I get when going to the pantry at 2 a.m. I don't know. It's also fitting. I'm literally recording in the smallest country in the world right now, in the Vatican. Damn. But all the countries in Europe are pretty much smaller. I mean, look at the map. It's like, yeah. To give you an idea of just how much smaller living in Europe is than the United States, just take a look at the population density. It's a little different. Other smaller things in Europe include the rooms, elevators. What else is smaller in Europe, Dad? People are smaller. The sizes are different. I have to buy large shirts here because I'm American. You get the point. Literally everything is smaller here. It's kind of weird, but kind of cool. I don't know. Difference number two, bathrooms. In America, it is more than common for us to just stop on the side of the road at any old business and do our business there and leave. That is unless you live in the state of Florida, because you guys literally just whiz anywhere, apparently. Seriously, what is wrong with you people? You can't really do that here, though. If the business does have a bathroom, which most of them don't, typically only like coffee shops and restaurants do, you usually have to buy something before you use their lavatory facilities. It can be something small, like a little cup of espresso or whatever, but you still should buy something. It's like, you know, it's polite. Oh yeah, also, fair warning, carry toilet paper with you. We found that out the hard way. I will not elaborate anymore.
Oh no, I mean, unless he's just saying the toilet paper is terrible, which should also be true. Because obviously they're not going to splash the cash to get the most comfortable toilet paper, are they? But I think he's just hinting at it wasn't toilet paper where he was going. What do you do in that situation? Luckily, I've never found myself in that situation. You go to a toilet, there's no toilet roll. What do you do? And you're on your own. Oh man, I pray I never get in that situation.
Let's just say we will be leaving Europe with one fewer pairs of socks than we came with. They also don't have seats on a lot of the toilets here, so you gotta squat. Unlike their American counterparts, European toilets have 2 buttons. One for poop and one for pee. The idea is obviously to save a little bit of water, which I find pretty cute. Considering in America, I leave my shower running between uses to keep the water warm. A lot of southern European countries also use these booty blast bowls when they're done dropping the kids off at the pool. Difference number 3, food. The food in Europe is absolutely atrocious in comparison to what we have in the States.
Wow. He's firing shots at the French, the Italians, the Spanish. Look, if you're saying that about the Brits, fair enough. But they're not going to be happy with that.
What they do is they don't load them up with preservatives, so you can't get your Big Mac today and enjoy it in 2 months' time. It's nothing short of communism over here. A lot of European countries even use a Nutri-Score to let you know how fast it will clog your arteries and make you feel bad for eating everything.
I didn't even know
that you eat. They had it in France. It was pretty depressing looking at all the things I ate. Looked a lot like my report card at school. In America, our food is fast and efficient. I mean, shoot, just look at Wonder Bread, man. We call it that because we wonder what's in it. It's fantastic. Or how about Cheese Whiz? You're not gonna find that anywhere else, guaranteed, unless it's in the America aisle at your foreign supermarket. That's what they think of us, guys. They think we're Cheese Whiz and cereal and Pop-Tarts, and they're right.
Also, what in the name of freedom-loving, democracy-spreading, mobility scooter riding, red, white, and blue apple pie are these patriotic-ass brownies I found doing in Italy? And someone please tell me what kind of American experience these off-brand generic Timu cereals are, because I've never seen this in my life.
Difference number 4, water. Much like the United States, most European countries have safe tap water. That is except for you guys in the Balkans. Sorry. However, there are definitely water differences between the US and Europe. For one, and this is a major one, check this out. Water bottle cap still attached.
Which is useful and not useful, I can't lie. Whenever that happens, I just rip it off anyway. It does annoy me a bit, but I assume it's just so you don't lose your lid, pretty much. Although, if you lose your lid, that's probably on you, let's be real.
Nice. A lot of Europeans say that actually annoys them, that they have their caps attached, but I think this is a fantastic innovation. And when it comes to restaurants, water is not free like it is in the US. You actually have to pay for a bottle of water that...
Pricey. In the UK, you don't have to pay for tap water, but you have to pay for bottled water. So, I guess that's just how it is.
That usually looks something like...
Wait.
Free like it is in the US. You actually have to pay for a bottle of water that you...
When it says bottle of water, does he mean like bottled water you just don't pay for in the US at all? Or is that water that would have been filled up with the tap water? Okay, I don't actually know.
Usually looks something like this. I've also noticed that they use a lot more glass over here than we do in the States. Europeans also enjoy sparkling water, which I deeply appreciate. When you ask for water here in a European restaurant, your waiter will more than likely follow up by asking you whether you want still or sparkling water. When I order sparkling water in the United States, I'm usually spat on and banned from the establishment. Difference number 5. Age. Everything in Europe, like I said, is old. I mean, seriously, this building behind me, the Basilica, is like... that many years old, I don't know, I gotta look it up, and the United States is like 250. Europe is home to palaces, castles, and ancient ruins all over the continent. I mean, we have our ruins too, though. We have, Detroit, St. Louis, Baltimore, plenty of nice places. Difference number 6. Money. Most countries in the European Union use the euro, you definitely cannot see that, as their currency. The euro is worth a little bit more than the dollar at the time of me making this video, but depending on where you are in the continent, the cost of living might be a little bit more than, a little bit less than, or pretty close to the cost of living in the United States. For example, Norway is generally a lot more expensive than the US, while Portugal is generally pretty cheaper. Pretty cheaper, that's not the way you say that, but pretty cheaper. A lot cheaper. Much cheaper. Europeans also definitely pay a lot more in taxes than we do in the States. As a general rule of thumb, you can expect to lose about 1/3 of your salary to the government in the United States, while here in Europe, in a lot of places, it's more like half or even more than half sometimes. But they also get a lot more social services like tax-funded education and...
I guess he's sort of talking about the Scandinavian countries there, to be fair.
And free healthcare. While in America, you break it, you buy it, and it's not cheap either. Overall, Americans do tend to be a little bit richer than Europeans. They tend to make more money, but the Europeans do get more vacation and leisure time. And no, not here. All right.
Wow.
All right.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm something of a bad boy myself. You know, the Vatican police tried to tell me I couldn't record, and, you know, I kept my educational geography footage when he told me not to. I'm something of a criminal myself. Anyway, as I was about to say, in Europe, they use a lot more coins than we do here in the United States, and that's pretty much because they're actually useful over there. This here is a €2 coin, and I also have a €1 coin. We actually do have golden dollar coins here in the United States, but literally nobody uses them, like, ever. I genuinely believe most Americans would think that the dollar coin was fake if you showed.
I don't think I've ever seen a dollar coin in my life. So the UK is very similar, the UK is very similar to Europe with that. £1 coins, 50p coins, £2 coins. Yeah, similar to Europe with that.
It to them. You would have to, like, explain why you're paying with a dollar coin if you handed it to someone. They'd be like, really, this? Just pay with freaking card, dude. Nobody uses these ever. It does look pretty cool, though. It's got the Statue of Liberty on it and, you know, $1. In America, it's expected that we leave, like, a 20% tip for our waiters at restaurants. We also tip our drivers, food delivery people, valet, the people who clean our hotel rooms, our barbers. You know, that one.
What? That's the first I've heard of this. Tipping, like, food related, like, so, like, people serving you, or I guess even food delivery, I get, like, that's the thing that is the thing in the UK. Barbers. You tip barbers, bro, you're paying £20 for a haircut already. I'm not tipping more.
Tip our drivers, food.
Drivers, I mean, I get that. I don't tip my drivers, but I mean, I kind of get drivers. Food
delivery people, valet, people who clean our hotel rooms, our barbers. You know, that one I get, though. I would be afraid to not tip my barber just next time I went. I just don't think I would get the same cut. In Europe, tipping isn't really expected. However, I do think they are starting to pick up the practice a little bit, at least with the tourists, because every time we ate, the waiters asked us if we wanted to leave a tip. They did not.
Yeah. They probably see that either you're from America or maybe even the UK, because I feel like that happens to me a bit as well. And they just know they're going to get a bit extra. Fair enough, you know. Do what you got to do.
Not hesitate at all. Maybe it's just because we're American. I don't know what looks American about me. I mean, my Italian is absolutely perfecto, but, I mean, beats me. Nonetheless, they asked for them anyway. But tipping is still definitely not viewed as a requirement like it is here in the U.S., because if you don't tip in America, at least at restaurants, you're going to get some funny looks, or next time you come back, there will be a wad of spit on your food. Unless the service is just, like, actually atrocious. What's good is that in Europe, you're never really going to get that experience where they flip around the little...
That's the thing, then. Say you genuinely have a terrible experience with the waiters, and they're just not very nice to you, which I guess probably isn't really a thing because that's part of their job, and they know they got to get tips. But let's just say the service is terrible. You get your food late, it's cold, all these things are just going wrong. Would you still tip then? Like, I don't actually understand. Obviously, I wouldn't, because in the UK, I mean, tipping is a thing. I tip in the UK, but if it's that bad, your experience is that bad, no. But at the same time, in the US, I guess maybe because it is just such a thing, you would still tip a certain amount. I don't know. But yeah, I guess let me know.
Little tip tablet thing and stare into your soul as you choose the tip amount. It's horrible.
Difference number 7, public transportation. In Europe, public transportation is in every big city, in pretty much every country. Behind me, I'm about to take the metro station here in Rome. This is the station called Termini. In America, the closest thing we have to public transportation is, nothing. In New York, you have the subway. That's about it. In Chicago, there's some other stuff. I've heard the DC subway is okay. The metro there is okay. But that's about it. We got our 3 little ones. Maybe 4 somewhere else. I don't know. In addition to the metros here in the big cities, though, Europeans also have trains, high-speed rail that they like to use, whereas we don't. We just drive everywhere all the time.
There's no high-speed rail in England, so I gotta take my way out here, mate, because sadly that's not a thing here.
Single day. Usually these kinds of public transportation things are just funded through the taxes, like earlier how I mentioned Europeans pay more in taxes. These are some of the reasons why.
Europe's fastest train, the Trenitalia Frecciarossa, has a top speed of nearly 250 miles per hour, while America's fastest train, the Acela, has a top speed of 150 miles per hour. Although on average, both of those trains definitely travel slower than their top speeds. Let's not be fooled here. here. One thing about public transportation, especially in the metros, is that it can get pretty freaking crowded, dude. I was basically smelling this dude's head the entire ride, but for 3 euros, it was worth it, honestly. Then in Rome, we paid 7 euros per ticket for a 24-hour metro pass, and it was totally worth it. I mean, you could see the entire city, just hop on the metro. They have stations pretty much everywhere you need to go, so it is very convenient. Would recommend. Another thing is I was actually pretty impressed at how clean the metro stations were in the European cities that I've been to. I've only rode the metros in Paris and Rome, but those two were pretty good, honestly. I'm sure the locals would beg to differ, but for me, like, they weren't that bad. The standards I'm going off of are New York, which is a very low bar to set, to say the least. You gotta make sure you don't have Ratatouille cooking up a lasagna in your hair when you get home from a ride in a New York subway. Difference number 8, smoking and alcohol. In Europe, it seems like everybody smokes cigarettes everywhere. It seems to be a very relaxed kind of thing over there. Maybe people see it as, like, cool. I don't know, man, honestly. In America, we definitely have more of a stigma against smoking.
That's always so interesting to me, and I'm all for that, by the way. I mean, people can do what they want. I hate smoking. Drinking, I mean, I don't really care. I drink every so often, but smoking is one of those things that I didn't realise until, I guess, reactions beforehand, that it was such like not, I guess he said stigma in the US. I mean, people obviously smoke there, but it's just nowhere near as common. Which, again, I'm all here for that, but I just find it fascinating how there is such a contrast within the places with smoking.
And that's not to say that people don't smoke in America, because trust me, they definitely do. You know, my jaw doesn't just drop every time I see someone smoking a cigarette over here, but it is definitely viewed as like a more taboo kind of thing. I don't know. Another thing is in America, the legal drinking age is 21, whereas it's 18 in most of Europe, if not even lower in some countries. And now, even though the drinking age is 18, it kind of isn't, because nobody really cares what you do over there. In Europe, they're very relaxed about it, while here in America, they still ask my middle-aged parents to show their IDs when they order a drink. Difference number 9, languages. Basically, every single European, except for the people in this general area, is multilingual. On top of their native languages, people in Europe typically learn American in school, the best language, obviously. But then in Belgium and Switzerland, they take it to a whole other level. The waffle people speak French in the southern part of the country and Dutch in the northern part.
This always blows my mind. What happens here, though, in the blue?
Part of the country. The skiing bankers speak French in the western part of the country, Italian in the very south of the country, a little bit of a language called Romanche, and German everywhere else. But hey, in America, some of us call it pop and some of us call it soda! So hey, we've got that. There are only 3 reasons you will find a
what the fuck?
Multilingual person in the United States. Number 1, they were born in another country, easy enough. Number 2, their parents were born in another country and they just sort of learned the language, because why not? Or number 3, a white dude married a Latina and had to learn Spanish to impress her parents. Those are the only 3 reasons. There are no exceptions to that. Believe it or not, the US now has almost as many Spanish speakers as Spain itself, but still 78% of Americans speak only English, including me. Another thing is that when Europeans do speak English, it's almost always British English. So instead of using the correct spelling of color, they will throw in the stupid ink-wasting U that the British like to use. I mean, what the heck?
I didn't actually think that was the case. I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was American English, just because I guess when they learn it in schools, it's British English. But then, like, obviously through like watching films and stuff, they're gonna watch a lot of popular American films, which will obviously be American English. So maybe they have that. I guess because when I hear a lot of Europeans speak English, they sound like not American, but they've got like an American sound to them. Like, they don't sound like they're speaking British English. They sound like they're obviously Europeans with an American sort of twang. But I guess they just write in British English and stuff, which is really interesting as well.
You that the British like to use. I mean, what the heck? It's not color. Do you think you're more sophisticated than us? Yeah, I mean, you probably are, to be fair. Difference number 10, systems. In America, we use good old feet and miles, while Europeans use meters and kilometers, the metric system. Why is it called a foot, I hear you ask? Well, cause it's about the length of a foot. I'm not kidding. That's actually why it's called that. In Europe, everyone uses the metric system, which is based on the number 10. So for example, water freezes at a nice 0 degrees Celsius and boils at a nice 100 degrees Celsius. In America, water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit and boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. I actually had to Google that because I did not remember the number. So fine, the Europeans do better with temperature. I'll give them that. Now, even though my driver's license says I'm 5 feet and 10 inches tall, I'm actually 5'8". But could you imagine me saying I am 1.7272 meters tall? Like, Why? Or even worse, I'm 172.7 centimeters. No. I've been told people in the UK actually still use feet and inches.
Yeah, it's very interchangeable. Yeah, like I use feet and centimeters. It's weird. I don't know why that's the case. Like I'd say I'm 5'9" and I'd say I'm 174, 175 centimeters tall. I think that's 5'9". Have I just baited myself out?
Inches for measurements, which makes sense considering they are the ones that actually created the imperial system way back when, but that's beyond the point. Europeans also travel vertically differently than we do here in the United States. When you get into your European coffin-sized hotel elevator, the first thing that you might notice is that the first floor is actually what would be the second floor here in the US. Usually the very first floor of a European building is called the ground floor, and then everything else just increases numerically from there. And here's a bonus difference. Europeans dress very fancily. I mean, seriously, dude, all of these stores were in the Rome airport alone. It's just a never-ending sea of overpriced design.
Yeah, but this is Italy. Come on. This is not England. No way.
Apparel. Like, it's actually a little intimidating how well they dress. I just want to wear my Under Armour Freedom American flag shirt with some pajamas, dude. Like, what the heck? It's not that deep. You don't have to dress up for a job interview every time you go to your local supermarket. You should see the things I've seen at my local Walmart. It's atrocious. Maybe don't go that far. You don't have to wear the suit every day. Oh yeah, and I forgot about sirens. In Europe, they sound like... And in America, they sound like... So they're different. So obviously it's a little difficult to assign overarching differences to a diverse continent like Europe. So I tried to choose differences that I believe do apply for the most part to most of the European countries, or if not, most of the countries in the European Union. So I hope you think I did a good job. Please be sure to support the video for free by giving it a nice like and subscribing to my channel. And until next time, goodbye.
Well, there we go. Differences between America and Europe. I enjoyed this. Is it a coincidence that I am drinking tea and eating a Big Mac? As a European, I'm offended. I don't speak British. Americans are larger, Europeans are taller. You won't see six-wheeled trucks in Europe, but you will see badass semi-trucks here in Scandinavia. We're getting banned from the Vatican with this one. So true. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And I guess, yeah, if you travel to Europe and you're an American, let me know what sort of differences you realised. And if you're a European who travelled to America, tell me some differences you noticed as well. I need to stop speaking so fast. Just speak slower. I'm just waffling now. Hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.